Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of North Country Politics. My name is Representative Mike Willett from Colebrook. My co-host, Representative Arnie Davis, is away this week, so we're very lucky and pleased to have a special guest with us. We have Michelle Strasburger of the Charter School. Welcome, Michelle.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us about the Pinnacle Charter School.
Sure. So it is a charter school, ultimately will be for grades 7 through 12. We're starting to open in the fall for grades 8 through 11. We picked that because we figured seniors aren't going to want to change in their last year and move over. It is college preparatory, so for students that want to pursue post-secondary education, whether a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, or something in the trades. And our goal is to base the school on 3 pillars. So it's flexibility. So flexibility comes with each child will come in with an individual learning plan, which is different than a 504 or an IEP. It's a plan that's much more aspirational. Where does the child want to go? What do they like? What subjects do they like? And how they want to grow in their educational career. And sometimes they won't know. And so that will be built over time. And that's going to tie to an AI tutor bot. And so we'll have AI built throughout the curriculum and teach the kids how to use it responsibly and still keep that critical thinking. The AI tutor bot will tie to the individual learning plan and will track their progress, especially when the teacher's not available. So when they're home studying, when they're working on special projects, and they'll be able to use that to research and study and do their work when the teacher's not available. It won't replace a teacher. We're still going to have teachers in the classroom, and it will be a supplemental tool that the teachers will use to continue the education beyond the classroom.
I've known you for a while, and I've known you to be very active in the schools and pro-education. Why now? What is going to be different than why did you do this instead of
you've seen some of the challenges. So, and in Colebrook specifically, and I'm sure this is happening throughout the state, schools are just not getting the funding they need. And so the funding comes from local taxes in New Hampshire. And if you live in a town that has a lot of residential building, housing, and a lot of commercial buildings, the school gets more income. And when you live in towns like Coas County, where there's not a lot of commercial and not a lot of residential, there's less income coming into the schools. And so while they've tried to do a lot of things, in 2019 they closed the local high school in Colebrook and consolidated the children into an elementary and middle school. So the children really lost their identity. And they did try to do some things, but because they need local taxpayer support and votes, they just couldn't build the trust that the taxes weren't going to go up. And that's a real concern for people financially, especially in an area where property taxes are really high. And so after the school vote failed, it was very contentious, unfortunately, but a group of people on both sides got together and said, we have to do something for the children. This is all about the children. And so we started talking about, could we do a groundswell of regionalization? And we'd figured that would be like moving a boulder up a hill. And so we figured the charter school route was the best way to really move it and move it fast and give these kids something that they could work towards. There's really nothing college preparatory in the area. It's mainly focused on CTE programs, which is fantastic. And the students at Pinnacle will still be able to take advantage of the CTE programs that are offered in the local community.
I kind of always looked at it as, when the first charter school in the area came into Lancaster, I was on the Colebrook School Board then, and it was kind of a new concept. And I'll never forget, they came to the Colebrook School Board and said, we'd like to have some students there. We don't know what it's going to cost, but we'd like you to give us $5,000 and buy 3 seats in our charter school for your kids. And the superintendent really promoted this because it was kids that really didn't fit the typical education. They weren't succeeding. They were struggling. And the charter schools in Lancaster, Littleton have been a great success. They run different than other charter schools in the state, and we're very lucky we have them. But it seems like your charter school is kind of on the other end of the spectrum, for the kids that aren't struggling, because we had a high dropout rate. But your kids are the kids that want to really excel and promote their educational future. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would. And I think the charter school in Lancaster has done a really good job of positively impacting the dropout rate. And so they've really served that purpose, and it's been fantastic. And so we're hoping to really get kids excited. The other two pillars is competence and love of learning. And so we really want to build a culture of a love of learning. And so I know you were probably told this growing up. I was told this growing up. If you find a job you love, it's not really work, it's fun. It's the same thing with education. When you teach them, you're teaching them an environment where you're creating excitement and love of learning. They don't feel like it's drudgery or school. They get excited about it, and they want to learn more, and they're curious and exciting. And so excited, that's what we want to create at the school.
So it's going to be located in Colebrook, and I understand you have a facility now.
We do.
We're getting
Very
ready for a
excited.
facility. Is it going to be limited to the area of kids that can join, or we were looking for the North Country kids, but could a child from Berlin or from Lancaster, if they wanted to join the program, is that feasible?
Yes. So the nice thing about the state with charter schools is you have to offer something different than other charter schools to give kids the opportunity. And anybody from New Hampshire can attend. It's considered a public school. It's a chartered public school, so they can attend for free. There's no tuition for students in New Hampshire. It's considered a public school. Students from surrounding states can also attend for a tuition rate. And I'm working with the Northeast Kingdom to find out how they will interact with us as well. So there may not be a tuition for Northeast Kingdom kids.
Okay. Are you? This is such a new project, and putting a new facility together and getting all the infrastructure needed. You must be looking for benefactors and people to donate.
Oh, love that question. Yes. So our funding is actually very different than how they fund the regular public schools. So we only get about $9,500 per student from the state. We don't get any of the other local taxes that come in for the regular public schools. And so the rest of our funding is based upon foundations, donations, benefactors, and grants. And so we were fortunate enough to receive a startup grant from the state that's a reimbursement grant. So yes, we are looking for benefactors. And what we're offering too is the ability for you to name a classroom if you donate a certain amount.
That's nice. At the end of the podcast today, we'll have the link for the website for Pinnacle Charter School, and we'll have an email. So if you'd like to contact the Pinnacle Charter School or look at what's going on, check out their website. But that'll be posted at the end of the podcast today. Now, we always look to have rounded students that are involved and aren't just bookworms. Or what about sports for these kids?
They will play sports where they live locally. So if they live in Berlin, they'll play Berlin sports. If they live in Colebrook, they'll play in Colebrook sports.
Yeah.
And if they're on the cusp, like I know Stewartstown has a choice, so they get to choose.
But that's is that something that's in statute to saying that even though they don't go to the Colebrook school, they can play sports in the Colebrook school without any hassles? Or
Yep, it's just like a homeschooled child can join the sports.
Okay. This is a unique situation. In your opinion, or in your ideas and looking down the future, what is your ideal outcome for these students graduating from the Pinnacle Charter School?
Our ideal, so we have very high expectations, and so we had to commit to the state what our measurements of success are going to be. And while in the first year we won't get to 100% graduation, but that's our goal, is that 100% of students are graduating and moving on to post-secondary education, whether that's, like I said, a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, or something in the trades.
Do you think that if we get to college, the students get to college, have a great education, do you think that'll do something to help retain our local students to the area? I mean, that's our biggest problem, is the export of our talent.
Yeah. I do believe that education is the foundation for your economy. And so the more we can invest in education, the stronger your economy gets. It's the start of that cycle. And so I do believe that with a strong education, we will be able to offer more jobs. We'll have more family and businesses moving to the area. And so it will give these kids an opportunity to stay. And I think in today's world where there's a lot of remote jobs, I work remotely, you can be anywhere. So if you love it here, like a lot of us do, then there's a lot of incentives to stay.
I agree. I've worked remotely really for 30 years, and it's been beneficial not only work wise but family wise. So to one last question, it's a little on the edge a little bit. Have you had any rebuttals or any problems with or any feedback from the local school about taking some of their students out of their school system?
I haven't actually. I've actually had a lot of very positive support from members of the school board, and we've been working very closely with the SAU and to just talk about how we can collaborate and how this can be something that's beneficial for all the children. This is a program for the children. It's not a political
Right.
endeavor. It's not a political conversation. It's really about the children. So whatever we can do together to give them access to education, we're happy to do that.
You know, there's a lot of things going on right now, and one of the big things going to coming up through the legislature is open enrollment that allow children to go to any school within their district. And there's both sides of the fence on this, but I think it's going to pass, and I think it's going to happen. And I think that the final outcome is that schools are going to have to do things differently to attract students to them instead of having students go away from them. Is there anything that you'd like to conclude with?
I think you also have to attract teachers too, and creating an environment that's both conducive to education for the children and allows the teachers that flexibility to teach and create that culture is really important. And that's what we're doing. I think we do have, like Mike said, the website will be shared afterwards. There is a donate link on the website, and so if you want to donate, even $1 would help, and that would be beneficial. But and the email I'm going to give is my email for Pinnacle Charter. So feel free to reach out to me with questions, and I'm happy to answer those questions.
And to add on to what you just said, I think that one thing the Colebrook School has really done is attract local kids back to teach in our school, and it's really given the teaching staff some stability, and I think they've done a great job doing that. So thank you very much for coming in today and telling us about the Pinnacle Charter School. We're very excited for you and wish you lots of luck.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Lori Corzin from Coos County District 7, and I want to talk to you about why certain people are in a rush to sideline parents. Picture this. You take your kid to the doctor. You sit in the waiting room, fill out 9 pages worth of forms, your child is seen, and a few weeks later you get a bill. You log into the online portal to see what actually happened in the visit, and instead of answers, you get a little message that basically says that your access is denied. But you're the parent. You're the one paying the bill. You're the one responsible for your child's health care. But somehow, you're the last one allowed to see what's in your child's medical records. Now, most parents don't find out this is even an issue until something goes wrong. Medication was changed, a test was ordered, a conversation happened that you knew nothing about. You go to check the portal, and suddenly, parts of your child's records are blocked, restricted, or just plain missing. And if you've ever spent half a day calling offices, being put on hold, and still not getting a straight answer, you know exactly how frustrating that is. And here's what really doesn't add up for me. Just a couple of weeks ago, during session, my friends across the aisle made it very clear that 18 and 19-year-olds on campus shouldn't be trusted to protect themselves. They are, in their view, too young to make that kind of serious decision. But some of those same folks now want us to believe that a 13-year-old is able to decide on their own what prescription medicines they should take, and that mom and dad don't need to know about it. But you can't have it both ways. If a legal adult at 18 is too young to be trusted with certain responsibilities, then a middle schooler certainly shouldn't be navigating prescription drugs alone while parents are being kept in the dark. And every parent knows this part. all prescription drugs have side effects. Some are mild, some are serious, and some can be dangerous when combined with other medications or conditions. If parents don't even know what their child has been prescribed, they have no idea what side effects to watch for, what warning signs to take serious, or when it's time to call the doctor or head to the ER. You cannot monitor what you're not allowed to see. That's where HB 1378 comes in. HB 1378 is a bill that says something pretty simple. It says if you are the parent or legal guardian of a minor child, you should have access to that child's medical records, including the electronic records, so that you know what care they're getting and you can make informed decisions. This is not a radical concept. If we're going to hold parents responsible, we have to trust them with the information. You can't be on the hook for your child's health and safety while being kept in the dark about what's actually going on. Now, let me be clear. This bill also recognizes that there are real situations where a parent is the problem, not the solution. So HB 1378 keeps important guardrails in place. If there's a court order limiting a parent's access because of abuse or domestic violence, this bill doesn't magically override that. If a provider genuinely believes that giving a dangerous parent access to those records is likely to put the child at risk of abuse or neglect, they still have the tools to protect that child. So this is not a no questions asked, everybody gets everything bill. It is a good parents deserve honest information bill. For the normal mom and dad, raising kids, juggling work, trying to keep track of appointments and prescriptions and specialist visits, this is about transparency and common sense. You shouldn't have to be a detective to figure out what's happening with your own child's medical care. So why do I support HB 1378? Because parents can't be effective advocates for their children if they're flying blind. Because medical decisions are serious, and you deserve to know what's being recommended, prescribed, and recorded in your child's file. And because we can protect kids who are truly at risk without treating every parent like a potential threat. If you've had an experience where you were blocked from seeing your child's records, I'd really like to hear about it. Send me an email or a message and tell me what happened. And if you want to follow this bill, HB 1378, or weigh in on it, reach out. Your stories are exactly what helps us in Concord separate rumor from reality. Thanks for listening. I'm Representative Lori Corzine, and this is North Country Politics. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.